What's going on, everybody? Here of Time here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to play Illari. Now, this video has taken me quite a while because I've been trying to learn how to play her better and to really get, really good at her, or at least good enough to where I can show you how to play her. So yeah, I've spent close to 16 hours on her in total, I think. I think 11 or 12 hours of that is in competitive. So I've earned quite a bit about her, of what I need to know to show you guys how to play her. So hopefully this video helps, and yeah, let's go and get into it. So once again, in my first video I made about Illari, I'm going to show her abilities and everything, and I'll try to go a little bit more in depth. If anything, this will be more of a refresher. So your first ability is like a knockback ability, and you can hold space to get more height on this. And I'll talk more about the ways you can use these abilities better later. But basically, it's just like a knockback to get away from enemies. And you can even like dodge stuff like Reinhardt charging at you, Bob charging at you. You can get Bob out of the way by using it. Stuff like that, so it's very useful. And then her main healing ability, I would say, is her pylon, which you can throw on pretty much any surface, on any wall, any floor, any ceiling. There are a few things that are a bit awkward to throw it on that don't quite work, but most things they can stick on. So the general idea is to put these pylons behind walls to where your enemies can't shoot them, and you can go and start shooting and attacking too. That's what your main thing is going to be doing. So I guess that brings us to the primary fire, is your shooting. And if you see on the middle, like where my crosshair is, it charges up, and it's generally better just to let it charge up every time you shoot. You don't want to like do this and keep shooting like that. So you do more damage if you let it charge up. And then your secondary fire is your healing beam, which also, I'll break my pylon to show you. It heals at about medium range. So let me see the max range it has on here. About here. It's about the max range. So it's about medium range, so you're not going to be able to heal far away. But it's more of like a just-in-case kind of thing. You know, if your pylons aren't healing enough, if your team is really getting hammered with a lot of damage, you'll use this. And then this also charges up. Now, you'll mainly not want to let this get down, because if you let it get down all the way down, you'll have to let it charge, and you can't heal again until... See, I'm trying to heal. And you can't heal until it charges back. So, if you have to use this a lot, I would get it down to about 10% or 20% and then let it charge back up and use it more. Because you'll have to let it charge up all the way till you can heal again. You'll have no heals at all after you do that. So, that's it for the main abilities, really. It's pretty straightforward. Like I said, it's mainly going to be your refresher. And I guess it's not really an ability, but you can break your pylons. And again, I'll talk more about the pylons and everything, how to use them better later. And then, of course, you got your ultimate, which is Captive Sun. Shoot it, and they have the sun status on them. And once they take a certain amount of damage, I think it's 60, 80 damage, something like that, they will explode on impact, and most times it'll kill them. If they're getting healed a lot, like if your supports are healing each other, and they got hit by it and they're healing each other quite a bit, they may not die, but most times it will kill most lower health things. So most lower health things they will kill, like lower health supports, lower health damages, DPSs, stuff like that. It will mainly kill, but it's a really good support tool, and a really good ultimate for a support. And again, I'll talk more about how the synergy of other heroes and stuff you can use with her to make it the most proficient. But that's the basic info about our abilities. More of a refresher, like I said. So now I'm going to talk a little bit more about more advanced tips. Now, I already mentioned it, but with your pylons, make sure you're not like throwing them out in the open where your enemies can destroy them. And that's another thing I want to talk about. So once your pylon gets hurt, you can destroy your pylon. As you can see, it's not getting damaged right now. And once I put it down, you have to wait for 8 seconds once you put it down in place again. Now, if it gets damaged before, even if you destroy it yourself, if it gets damaged in the slightest before you destroy it, it will take the max 12 seconds, as if an enemy destroyed it, to get your pylon back online. So the best thing to do is, if it does get damaged past the shield and you can't get the regain health again, then what I would do, instead of destroying it, if the enemies aren't going to destroy it and it's taking damage, I would replace it, and then it'll have max health again, and you'll be back to business. Instead of breaking it and not having a pylon for 12 seconds, you know, it's a very big consequence of letting your pylon get destroyed, so make sure you place it in good areas to where it won't get destroyed. And other maps are better than others, but pretty much every map you can pretty much play Illari. You know, it's not like, oh, I don't know, like Symmetra, only certain maps you can really play her, I would say, or at least most maps, Symmetra and like Widowmaker too. It's better to play them on certain maps than others. You pretty much play her anywhere. But just, yeah, with her pylons, if they get damaged in the slightest, they will, even if you break them yourself, they will take the max 12 seconds to regain. So I would just replace them again. Now, if you see the enemy is going to destroy them anyways, if you want to shorten that timer of 12 seconds, go ahead and destroy it and wait the 12 seconds. And, you know, before your enemies can destroy it, if they're going to destroy it anyway, just go ahead and destroy it, and your timer will go ahead and be counting down, and you can be healing with your beam while you're waiting. Now, it's a bit of a risk, but, you know, if you have no choice, you have no choice. And it's hard to get the pylon placement down, but you kind of have to play her for a while, get some experience to figure out what some good places are to place the pylons and everything. Now, here's one that's iffy if it'll work or not. Now, with your pylons, if you're about to die, like you see, you're definitely not going to survive this fight, and you have a free pylon you can throw, and, like, you got your tank, you got another damage, or 2 damages. You got both your damages still alive and your tank, and, like, both supports are dead. You're about to die, and your other support is dead. I would go ahead before you die, throw a pylon out before you do die, so that, and try and make it a place, if you can help it, where the enemies won't see it, so that while you're dead, your pylon can still heal, because even though you die, your pylon will stay there until enemies destroy it, or until you destroy it when you respawn. But yeah, if you're about to die, you see you're about to die, I would place one, so you can at least try, you know, to keep your people alive that are still alive. If you got tank alive, you got DPS alive. Especially if you have your tank still alive. If you can keep him alive, keep him in a fight, especially in like a setting like competitive, it's very handy if you can throw a pylon even though you're about to die and keep them alive. So that's another good tip, I would say. So as I said before, the pylons will stick to pretty much any surface. They'll stick to walls, to ceilings. Let me see if I can get it to stick to a ceiling here. Yeah, see, right there, they stick to ceilings, they can stick to walls, they can stick to floors. Now, something that people may not know is they can stick to payloads. So on payload maps, they can stick to payloads, and generally I like to put it on the back of the payload where enemies can't shoot it, really, but they can still heal allies. Now, I'll try to, I guess this is another tip, I'll try to tell them where the pylon is. If you see, if you'll let me, no, hold on. You can mark out where your pylons are, actually. So if you ping, you can ping where your healing pylon is. So that's very handy, too. That's not what I was going to get into, though. What I was going to say is I try to put it on an area where, you know, it's at the back of the payload where enemies can't shoot it, but you can also heal your allies if they get back a bit. So I'll put it on the back payload and ping it. And it'll at least get the point across to, you know, your allies that know how the pylon works, you know, to get back and get healed by the pylon, know where it is. So yeah, it can stick to payloads. Now, it cannot stick to the push robots. Not that it would benefit you much anyways, because enemies pretty much are going to be all around that robot and be able to shoot it anyways. You can throw it on, like, the push robots' barriers that they push. And you can also throw them on, like, barriers that go up and down, like, I think it's Lijiang Tower. No, maybe not Lijiang Tower. I think it's Busan. One of the maps in Busan, they have the barriers that go up and down. They do get destroyed when the barriers go down, but you can place them on those and everything. Like I said, pretty much any surface. Now, some maps have, like, bells that you can shoot in the ring. Now, I've noticed you can't throw them on the bells. So, like, on some of the, well, I mean, there's only a few maps of it, but the Flashpoint maps, there's, like, bells. And you cannot throw them on that. They'll go up, they'll try to stick, and they'll fall right back down. They won't stick. So, stuff like that, you can't place them on. But pretty much everything else you can place them on. Like I said, you can't place them on push robots. You can place on my payloads, and Illari's really good for payload maps, so I really recommend her for payload maps. So as I mentioned before, your first ability, you can get some more height with it if you hold the jump button down like this. Now, what you might not know is if you don't hold it down, you get more height like that, but if you don't hold it down, you just press it, you'll get more distance. So if you're trying to get back to your team after you die and you respawn, I wouldn't do the long, like as you saw, I went pretty far over there. Now, if I do the long version, I would only go to like about here, if this bridge wasn't here, that is. So you don't go as far, you know, as if you were to just press it. I would say press it if you're trying to get distance. Now hold it if you're trying to get to like places higher up. Like up here, for example. I don't think I can make that, but as an example, if you want to get more height, if you want to go and heal your Widowmaker that's sniping, Ashe that's sniping, whatever. If you want to get to your Symmetra that's teleported and her teleport gets destroyed, you can get some height and get up to her, stuff like that. So that's handy to know, and I just noticed that the other day. I was like, huh. It seems like you get more height if you hold the button, but you get more distance if you don't hold the button, you just press it. So that's something I wanted to share that I found out. Also, like I said before, if there's anything that like charges in, you can like avoid them, and you can even push Reinhardt's back. Like if you see a Reinhardt pushing in, and he's not necessarily going for you, but he's going for your other support, you can knock him back and keep him from charging at your other support and make him like run into a wall instead, which can be very handy as well. It's kind of the same as Brigitte can stop his charge, only you're more vulnerable as Brigitte, as you both get knocked down and you're unconscious for like 2-3 seconds, something like that. I think it's 1 or 2 seconds, actually. You're less vulnerable like this, and you can push back. You can push back a charging Bob so that Bob doesn't get that initial like charge attack on one of your friends and kills them, you know, because it's pretty easy for him to kill you. If he knocks you in the air and then just starts shooting you. So you can knock back Bobs and stuff like that. So that's very good as well to know about the charge. I briefly mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but most of the time as a Illari, you're going to be wanting to put your pylon. You're going to want to put it out and be dealing damage. She's mainly, think of her as like a Zenyatta. Almost like a better Zenyatta, although I feel like Zenyatta is still good. A lot of people think that Zenyatta is useless now that Illari is out. I just disagree. I think he's so good. But just think of her like that. As long as your pylon is out and your allies aren't getting damaged a whole lot, of course, keep an eye on your allies' health. But if you got your pylon out and it's still alive and they're still alive, be shooting as much and as often as you can to get your charge up for your ultimate, especially. So something that needs to be talked about with Illari is now that she's been out for a while and everybody knows how her ultimate works, as soon as everybody hears Face the Sunrise, as soon as everybody hears that, they're going to be running away. And you're not going to be able to hit a lot of enemies with your sunburst and be able to make them explode on impact and everything. You're not going to be able to get a whole lot because everybody knows to run away now when you hear that voice line. It's kind of like a Junkrat thing. As soon as you hear fire in the hole, everybody runs. Everybody spreads out. And, you know, most times Junkrat does get quite a bit of kills still, but the point is, you can't group a lot of people up like you used to be able to when she first came out. So synergy with other heroes is pretty vital, I would say. Now, one hero that she synergizes very greatly with is Zarya. Zarya can pop her ultimate. Everybody will be sucked up in that, and then you can use your ultimate and shoot and pretty much get everybody, depending on how many she gets sucked up in her ultimate. Because even with Kiriko's cleanse, you can't really get out of that bubble. The only thing that really can get you out of a Zarya ultimate is, I've seen Life Weaver, not only like his life grip, but he can also throw his flower under and get you up from that. So, I mean, if there is a Life Weaver on enemy team, be aware of that, but you can combine your ultimate with Zarya. Zarya is probably the best out of the tanks and everything, and I would say Reinhardt is good too. If he hammers down like 3 or 4 opponents, you can throw your Sunrise and get quite a bit killed, I would say. Even Sigma would work as well. Even like Soldier 76, you know, if you got like a Zarya, a Soldier 76, and an Illari, and that's pretty much that's pretty much a good game there. You got Zarya throw her ultimate, and then you shoot yours, and all of them are affected by the sunburst, and then Soldier 76 pops his ultimate while all of that's going on and pretty much kills them very, very fast. That's a good team there. That's a good synergy team. So yeah, I guess I was just saying, just synergize with your teammates, see what works best. Like I said, Zarya is probably the best tank to go with Illari to if you really want to have a good chance with her ultimate. Like I said, Sigma can work, Reinhardt can work. I wouldn't say people like Diva works or Winston. I wouldn't say they synergize very well with Illari, but people like Zarya definitely, and Soldier 76 can synergize with both of them. So just see who synergizes the best with Illari in your team. So I'm pretty sure that's most of like the main advanced tips and everything. All the tips I really want to give out of the way. I think that's most of them. Let me know if there's something that I missed. Like, hey, there's this tip you didn't talk about, you really need to talk about. Let me know down in the comments below. But I do want to talk about, real quick, the advantages and disadvantages. Now, obviously, one of the biggest advantages of Illari is you can just, if you throw your pylon in a good area, then you can pretty much just leave it there and not have to worry about healing a whole ton. And you can go about damaging. Now, I wouldn't be completely oblivious of your team and throw your pylon out and be like, they're good, and go on your own and possibly get killed yourself or get your teammates killed because you're not paying attention to their health. I wouldn't do that, but you don't have to pay attention. Think of her like Zenyatta. Like I said, if you're healing Orbis on the tank and you got like a Moira healing the other heroes, you pretty much just can attack on attacking, just like Illari. I would say that's a good advantage. Another good advantage is how you can knock people like off ledges and stuff, just like Lucio and Doomfist, Reinhardt, people like that, even Diva. Pushing things back and pushing Reinhardt's back. You can definitely push Reinhardt's back. You can even push Doomfist's back. It doesn't work as well, as his punch will still go through, and it doesn't really affect where his trajectory of his punch is going. But it does affect Reinhardt's. I've definitely saved a few teammates by using my charging, making Reinhardt charge right into a wall instead of a support or a damage and killing them. So definitely that's a great advantage of her, and being able to shoot while the pylons are up, but not having to heal a whole lot with your beam is a great advantage, I would say. And that's most of her advantages. Oh, and also, she can hit like a hit scan. She can hit like a hit scan pretty good, and you can hit echoes pretty well in air. She can hit pretty much as good as any hit scan, like Baptiste and everything. Even I would say even better than Baptiste. I mean I think her primary fire would be considered hit scan, right? It pretty much immediately hits. I would say she's a hit scan, so that's another advantage I'd say is being able to hit like mercies and stuff pretty easily. Oh, and also I've noticed that she's actually pretty easy to get headshots with. I've gotten a lot of headshots with her, and I'm not good at getting headshots at all, so that's another advantage I guess I haven't mentioned. Okay, so now disadvantages. There is actually quite a bit with her ultimate. I think is mainly what I'm going to be talking about. So, with her ultimate, there are a few direct counters, and there's a few that are technically counters, but they don't work, like, 100% of the time. So, direct counters, I would say, is Diva's Matrix. She can eat your ultimate, and it just will not hit anybody at all, which kind of sucks. Now, another ultimate that I would say, or not ultimate, but another thing that I would say is pretty much a direct counter. My friend disagrees with me, but it's happened to me quite a bit where Orisa, her javelin spin has eaten my ults. He says that there's no way that unless you're very close to her, that can be eaten. But I disagree. I strongly disagree with that. It's happened a lot. I've even eaten Illari's ult as Orisa before. So, I mean, it's not hard to do. So, her javelin spin, I would say, is a pretty direct counter. Not as much as Diva's Matrix, maybe, but definitely, because it has a cooldown, and Diva's Matrix doesn't technically have a cooldown unless you get all the way down. So I'd say those are both pretty direct counters, but Diva's more direct. Now, Zarya's bubble can also, if she's bubbled, if she's bubbling somebody else or whatever, if you try to hit Zarya around while there's other enemies around, her bubble can swallow it. Like I said, not a direct counter because her bubble could be on cooldown, or you could just aim past her and shoot the others, and her bubble wouldn't consume it. But it is another counter that can stop your ultimate from hitting. And then, of course, shields and stuff can definitely stop that too, like Reinhardt's shield, Sigma's shield. Ramatra's shield and stuff can definitely, stop that from hitting other allies. More generally, the main disadvantages you have are Diva's Matrix and Orius's Javelin Spin, I would say, are main ones, and then Zarya, of course, can do that as well, and can swallow with her bubbles. Oh, and I almost forgot, Sunshot enemies can be cleansed by Kiriko. Kind of sucks, but, she cleanses pretty much anything. She can cleanse Zenyatta's Discord Orb, she can cleanse Ana's Nade, she can cleanse pretty much anything like that. The Sunshot now, anything like that, she can cleanse. She can cleanse Echo's bubbles that she shoots on you. It kind of sucks, but, she's a great support, a great versatile support, so I guess it's okay, she can do that, but it does kind of suck. You can get a whole team, and then she just cleanses the whole team, and your ultimate pretty much did fuck all, did nothing at all. It's just like, well, I'm glad I wasted my ultimate on that. I'm not saying that they should remove that, but I don't know. It just kind of sucks that she can just cleanse literally everything. And don't get me wrong, I love Kiriko. She's one of my main played heroes. I think she's in my top 3 or 4, but like, it just kind of sucks that you use your ultimate and it becomes pretty much useless once she cleanses it. At least, for Zenyatta, you can just put the orb back on. It's an ability and not an ultimate. And same with Ana, it's her nade. It takes a while for it to get back, but it's not like an ultimate you have to charge up again. But for Illari, it's an ultimate, and it can get eaten very easily by Diva, and it can be cleansed very easily by Kiriko. Kind of sucks, but I guess we'll see what Blizzard balances on that. If we know Blizzard very well, then they won't balance it in the slightest. But, that's wishful thinking. So that's about it for this video. Hopefully I was able to get the point across about the various tips, advanced tips and everything, information I give you about Illari, how to play her better and everything. Hopefully you guys can play her better now. And I didn't make this video about going over all of the things about Illari, because there's a lot of stuff you can read in the fine prints, like on the Overwatch fandom page. And there's a lot of information there that you may not know. If you guys would like to see something like that, let me know down in the comments, and I may do a video like that. If not, I might just keep this video up and just leave it as is. But if you would like a more advanced thing, like everything you need to know about Illari, pretty much, then let me know, and I may make a video on it. But if this video did help you, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see everybody in the next video. Bye.